Many people have seen, or faced this situation. As per facts around the world, every year around 800,000 people commit suicide. Abhorrent incidents have made their lives less worthy to contribute living to this society that we call world. They tried to seek help from their families and friends, but we the society neglected them. Suicidal thoughts come in the form of waves, with the flood of feelings and emotions, with mental stress and trauma. All it takes is just a few seconds for someone to put his or her life at stake. There are various factors which can lead a person to commit suicide. Depression can make people feel great emotional pain and loss of hope, making them unable to see another way to relieve the pain other than ending their own life. Traumatic stress. A person who has had a traumatic experience, including childhood sexual abuse, rape, physical abuse, or war trauma, is at a greater risk for suicide, even many years after the trauma. Substance use and impulsivity. Drugs and alcohol can also influence a person who is feeling suicidal, making them more impulsive and likely to act upon their urges than they would be while sober. Loss, or fear of loss. A person may decide to take their own life when facing a loss or the fear of a loss. Hopelessness. Hopelessness, either in the short term, or as a longer-lasting trait, has been found in many studies to contribute to the decision to commit suicide. Chronic pain and terminal illness. If a person has chronic pain or illness with no hope of a cure or reprieve from suffering, suicide may seem like a way to regain dignity and control of their life. Believe your life is a burden to others. A person with chronic pain or a terminal illness can also feel like a burden to others, as it becomes harder and harder to ask for yet another ride to the doctor's office or more help with household duties or assistance paying for hospital bills. Social isolation. A person can become socially isolated for many reasons, including losing friends or a spouse, undergoing a separation or divorce, physical or mental illness, social anxiety, retirement, or due to a move to a new location. Suicide attempts are not a cry for attention but a cry for help. It becomes a way to demonstrate to the world just how much they are hurting. Why do people commit suicide? Well, it's often difficult to imagine what led a friend, family member, or celebrity to commit suicide. There may have been no clear warning signs, and you may wonder what clues you might have missed. Many factors combine to lead a person to the decision to take their own life. It's often an act made during a storm of strong emotions and life stresses rather than after careful consideration. Who is at the most risk of suicide? People from all backgrounds can have suicidal thoughts. Lots of people go through this. Someone may be at higher risk if they have attempted suicide before, been experiencing depression, a serious physical illness, lost a friend or family member to suicide, been a victim of violence, bullying or sexual abuse. Suicide prevention. The World Health Organization estimates that approximately 1 million people die each year from suicide. What drives so many individuals to take their own lives? To those who are not in the grips of suicidal depression and despair, it's difficult to understand what drives so many individuals to take their own lives. But a suicidal person is in so much pain that he or she can see no other option. Suicide is a desperate attempt to escape suffering that has become unbearable, blinded by feelings of self-loathing, hopelessness, and isolation. A suicidal person can't see any way of finding relief except through death. Suicide warning signs include talking about suicide. Any talk about suicide, dying, or self-harm, such as "I wish I hadn't been born, if I see you again," and "I'd be better off dead." Seeking out lethal means. Seeking access to guns, pills, knives, or other objects that could be used in a suicide attempt. Preoccupation with death. Unusual focus on death, dying, or violence. Writing poems or stories about death. No hope for the future. Feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, and being trapped. There's no way out. belief that things will never get better or change. Saying goodbye. Unusual or unexpected visits or calls to family and friends. Saying goodbye to people as if they won't be seen again. Withdrawing from others. Withdrawing from friends and family. Increasing social isolation. Desire to be left alone, self-destructive behavior. Increased alcohol or drug use, reckless driving, unsafe sex. Taking unnecessary risks as if they have a death wish. Sudden sense of calm. A sudden sense of calm and happiness after being extremely depressed can mean that the person has made a decision to attempt suicide. If you spot the warning signs of suicide in someone you care about, you may wonder if it's a good idea to say anything. What if you're wrong? What if the person gets angry? In such situations, it's natural to feel uncomfortable or afraid. Talking to a friend or family member about their suicidal thoughts and feelings can be extremely difficult for anyone. But if you're unsure whether someone is suicidal, the best way to find out is to ask. Ways to start a conversation about suicide. I have been feeling concerned about you lately. Recently, I have noticed some differences in you and wondered how you are doing. Questions you can ask. When did you begin feeling like this? Did something happen to make you start feeling this way? How can I best support you right now? What you can say that helps. You are not alone in this. I'm here for you. I may not be able to understand exactly how you feel, but I care about you and want to help.